This might be the most shocking royal scandal yet. New reports suggest that Meghan Markle may have orchestrated one of the most devastating power moves in royal history by allegedly erasing Prince Harry's legal name from their daughter Lilibet's birth certificate. But here's the twist. This calculated move appears to have backfired spectacularly, leaving Harry in legal limbo and unable to get basic documents for his own children. Want to know how a simple birth certificate became the ultimate weapon in a royal power struggle? And why Harry allegedly considered using his mother's maiden name Spencer just to get passports for his kids? We're breaking down this explosive legal drama that shows just how far some people will go for control. Before we dive into this shocking revelation, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring that notification bell so you never miss the latest royal bombshells. Let's get into it. The birth certificate bombshell. Let's start with the discovery that has royal legal experts absolutely stunned. According to multiple sources, when little Lilibet Diana's birth certificate was filed in California, something very strange happened. Instead of listing Prince Harry's actual legal name, the one the government recognizes, the document allegedly listed the Duke of Sussex as his first name and His Royal Highness as his last name. Now, pause and think about that for a second. Imagine trying to use a passport or any legal identification with Duke as your first name and Royal Highness as your last name. You'd get laughed out of any government office in the world. These aren't legal names, they're titles, and there's a massive difference. What makes this even more shocking is that this wasn't some innocent mistake by a tired hospital clerk. Legal experts are saying this looked intentional, calculated, and potentially devastating for Harry's parental rights. Because here's the thing, while everyone was distracted by debates about whether Harry and Meghan should use their HRH titles in business, something much more serious was happening behind the scenes. Harry's actual legal identity was allegedly being erased from one of the most important documents in his daughter's life. And that's not just symbolically devastating, it's legally dangerous. Birth certificates are the foundation for everything: passports, legal claims, custody disputes, inheritance rights, and international travel. Without Harry's proper legal name on that document, his parental rights become murky at best. In the UK, you can include titles on official documents, but you still have to list your real legal name underneath. It's like putting doctor on a form. That's fine, but you still need to write John Smith so people know who you actually are. Except in this case, Harry's John Smith equivalent was allegedly missing completely. The really disturbing part is that someone with Meghan's legal background would absolutely know the implications of this kind of paperwork manipulation. She's navigated the legal world, the royal world, and Hollywood contracts. She understands how documentation works and why names matter in legal contexts. So when Harry's legal name allegedly disappeared from his own daughter's birth certificate, it's hard to see this as anything other than a strategic move designed to complicate his parental rights and legal standing. The passport nightmare begins. Here's where the alleged birth certificate manipulation started causing real-world problems for Harry. When he tried to get British passports for both Archie and Lilibet, the entire process ground to a halt. What should have been a routine procedure for a member of the royal family turned into months of delays, legal threats, and bureaucratic nightmares. The official explanation was technical issues, but Harry knew something was seriously wrong. How does a prince of the United Kingdom face months of delays getting passports for his own children? The answer becomes clear when you realize that British passport applications require verified birth certificates with proper legal names. If Lilibet's birth certificate didn't have Harry's actual legal name on it, that would create exactly the kind of red flag that would stop a passport application dead in its tracks. Government agencies don't mess around with documentation inconsistencies, especially when it comes to children's travel documents. But here's where it gets even more desperate. According to reports, Harry was so frustrated with the passport delays that he allegedly considered using the name Spencer, his mother Princess Diana's maiden name, as a workaround. Think about that level of desperation. A literal prince of the United Kingdom was reportedly willing to apply for his children's documents using a family name he was never legally part of. That's not the behavior of someone dealing with routine bureaucracy. That's the behavior of someone who's hit a legal wall and is willing to try anything to get around it. The fact that Harry would even consider using Spencer shows how blocked he felt by whatever was happening with the official documentation. The situation got so bad that Harry allegedly had to use a 24-hour emergency passport service and send legal threats just to get the process moving again. But even then, he reportedly insisted on including royal titles like HRH on the passports, which created additional complications since the royal family had already made it clear that Harry and Meghan weren't supposed to be using those titles publicly. It's like Harry was fighting a war on multiple fronts, dealing with the birth certificate problems while also trying to maintain his royal identity through the passport process. The legal re-registration revelation. Here's where things get really interesting from a legal standpoint. According to sources familiar with government procedures, if a birth certificate is missing a parent's actual legal name, it has to be re-registered. This isn't just a simple correction. It's a whole legal process that requires submitting evidence, providing consent from both parents, and basically redoing one of the most important documents in a child's life. So while everyone was focused on whether Meghan was using HRH titles on business cards and promotional materials, Harry was allegedly scrambling behind the scenes just to make sure his name was legally connected to his own daughter. That's a level of legal vulnerability that most people can't even imagine. The re-registration process, if it happened, would explain a lot about the delays and complications Harry faced. It would also mean there was official recognition that something was wrong with the original birth certificate. Someone had to go back, fix the problems, and patch up what legal experts are calling a potentially intentional oversight. But by the time any re-registration was completed, significant damage had already been done. Delays had set in, trust had been damaged, and Harry's legal standing as a parent had been called into question by government agencies processing his children's documents. This isn't just about paperwork, it's about establishing legal precedent. When a document as critical as your child's birth certificate omits your legal name, you've already started writing yourself out of a legal narrative. Whether that was intentional or not, the effect is the same. Harry's legal presence as a parent became blurred. If you're shocked by these legal manipulation tactics, make sure to hit that like button, and let us know in the comments what you think about this birth certificate scandal. The travel control strategy. Now, let's talk about the broader implications of what allegedly happened with that birth certificate. If Meghan really did orchestrate Harry's name being omitted or incorrectly listed, she may have been playing a much longer game than anyone realized. Under current travel laws, if Harry ever wanted to take the kids to the UK without Meghan, he would need her written permission. That's standard legal procedure for international travel with children. But if Harry's legal standing as a parent is compromised by documentation problems, Meghan's control over those travel decisions becomes even more absolute. Think about what that means for Harry's relationship with his father, King Charles, and the rest of the royal family. If he can't easily travel with his children to the UK, his connection to the monarchy becomes increasingly theoretical. He might still have royal titles, but he can't share his royal heritage with his kids without Meghan's approval. This kind of legal control is incredibly powerful because it operates behind the scenes. While everyone sees Harry making public appearances and giving interviews, the reality might be that he has very limited practical power over major decisions involving his children. The documentation problems also create vulnerabilities in any potential future custody disputes. Courts and government agencies don't care about royal titles or family connections. They care about legal identity and verified parental rights. If Harry's legal standing was compromised from the beginning, he would be fighting any custody battle from a position of weakness. Legal experts point out that this kind of strategic documentation manipulation is more common than people realize, especially in high-profile divorces and custody disputes. By controlling the paperwork, one parent can gain significant advantages in legal proceedings. Harry's shrinking legal identity. What's most disturbing about this situation is how it fits into a broader pattern of Harry's legal identity being systematically eroded. First, he was stripped of his military titles and patronages when he stepped back from royal duties. Then questions arose about his and Meghan's use of HRH titles in commercial contexts. Now, allegedly, his legal name was omitted from his own daughter's birth certificate. Each of these incidents might seem unrelated, but together they paint a picture of someone whose legal and official identity is being chipped away piece by piece. Harry might still walk around with royal titles, but in the documents that actually matter, military records, business registrations, birth certificates, his presence is becoming increasingly ghost-like. This is particularly ironic because Harry and Meghan have spent years talking about independence and building their own brand separate from the royal family. But the alleged birth certificate manipulation suggests that someone understood the value of maintaining control through legal technicalities rather than public relations. While Harry was focused on public battles about media coverage and royal protocol, the real power struggle may have been happening in government offices and legal documents where the public couldn't see it. And in that hidden battle, Harry appears to have been systematically outmaneuvered. The most telling detail is Harry's alleged willingness to use the Spencer name for his children's documents. That shows a level of desperation that goes beyond normal bureaucratic frustration. It suggests someone who felt so legally blocked that he was willing to abandon his own family name just to get basic documents processed. The backfire effect. But here's where Meghan's alleged strategy appears to have backfired. All of these documentation problems and legal complications didn't stay hidden. The passport delays became public knowledge. The birth certificate irregularities started getting attention from legal experts and media observers. What might have been intended as quiet legal maneuvering turned into a public scandal. The re-registration process, if it happened, would have created an official paper trail showing that something was wrong with the original birth certificate. Government agencies would have records of the problems and the steps taken to fix them. That's not the kind of evidence that stays buried forever. Harry's frustration with the passport process also appears to have made him more combative with government agencies. Reports suggest he threatened to request all internal data related to the delays, which is not the behavior of someone who's just mildly annoyed. That's someone who suspects deliberate obstruction and wants proof. This kind of aggressive legal pushback from Harry suggests he may have finally realized the extent to which his legal standing had been compromised. Instead of accepting the problems quietly, he started fighting back, which brought more attention to the irregularities. The irony is that if the birth certificate manipulation was intended to give Meghan more control while keeping Harry legally vulnerable, the public exposure of these tactics has had the opposite effect. Now, everyone knows about the documentation problems, which makes it harder to use them as leverage in private legal disputes. The broader royal implications. This birth certificate scandal has implications that go far beyond just Harry and Meghan's family dynamics. It raises serious questions about how royal children's legal status is documented and protected, especially when they're born outside the UK. King Charles and the royal family are reportedly watching this situation closely because it affects the legal status of his grandchildren. If there are problems with how royal births are being documented in other countries, that could create complications for succession, inheritance, and the children's future relationship with the monarchy. The scandal also highlights the vulnerabilities that arise when senior royals live outside the UK and have to deal with foreign legal systems. While Harry and Meghan wanted independence from royal protocol, they may have inadvertently created legal complications that the royal family will have to deal with for generations. Royal legal experts are probably reviewing procedures for documenting births of royal family members abroad to make sure similar problems don't arise in the future. The last thing the monarchy needs is more questions about the legal status of potential heirs or their parents' rights. What this means going forward. As this scandal continues to unfold, several important questions remain unanswered. Has Harry's legal standing as a parent been fully restored through re-registration or other legal processes? Are there ongoing complications with his children's documentation that could affect their future relationship with the royal family? The passport situation appears to have been resolved, but the underlying trust issues between Harry and Meghan may be much harder to fix. If Harry really believes that Meghan deliberately compromised his legal standing as a parent, that's the kind of betrayal that fundamentally changes a relationship. For Meghan, the public exposure of these alleged tactics creates serious reputation problems. Being accused of manipulating birth certificates to gain legal advantage over your spouse is not the kind of publicity that helps with business ventures or public image management. The children, Archie and Lilibet, are the real victims in this situation. Their legal documentation has been complicated by adult power struggles, and they may face ongoing questions about their status and identity as they grow up. Conclusion. The alleged birth certificate manipulation represents one of the most shocking power moves in recent royal history. If reports are accurate, Meghan may have attempted to erase Harry's legal identity from their daughter's birth certificate, potentially compromising his parental rights and creating long-term legal vulnerabilities. But this calculated strategy appears to have backfired spectacularly. Instead of quietly gaining legal advantage, the documentation problems became public scandals that exposed the tactics and created new complications for everyone involved. Harry's desperate consideration of using the Spencer name shows just how blocked he felt by the legal obstacles he was facing. A prince of the United Kingdom shouldn't have to consider abandoning his family name just to get passports for his children. The re-registration process and passport delays created official records of the problems, making it impossible to hide the legal manipulation that allegedly took place. What might have been intended as invisible control became very visible scandal. This situation highlights the dangers of treating legal documentation as tools for personal advantage rather than protecting children's rights and family integrity. Birth certificates and passports aren't weapons in relationship battles. They're fundamental documents that affect people's lives for decades. What do you think about these shocking allegations? If Meghan really did try to erase Harry's name from official documents, was that a brilliant legal strategy or a devastating betrayal? And do you think Harry will ever fully recover his legal standing as a parent after these complications? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. This birth certificate scandal raises serious questions about power, control, and the protection of children's legal rights in high-profile families. If this breakdown of the legal manipulation helped you understand what really happened behind the scenes, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe for more royal scandal coverage, and ring the notification bell so you never miss explosive revelations like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time with more shocking royal secrets that prove the truth is always stranger than fiction. Stay informed and stay critical.